infection control strategy using the alcohol-based hand rub. I think each one of us has got a bottle with them, and I want us to just demonstrate together the disinfection procedure. We'll just demonstrate how to perform the hand disinfection together.
You have?
So we need to, you rub palm to palm, then the back of the fingers, in between the fingers, then the back, the thumb, the fingertips, and then the wrists. I can see some people's faces were showing me something. She said, "God welcome, mom." Yeah, that's done very fast. But that means you put a drop. You put it. No. But the issue here is you need to protect yourself. You need to put yourself first. You need to do it until you feel you're contented that it is going to protect me. Yes. So there are points we need to remember when performing the hand disinfection. You need to apply an appropriate amount. I saw my friend here putting just a drop. So you need to get an appropriate amount. Then you need to rub for at least 15 seconds, ensuring that all these surfaces have been covered. And then you add more disinfectant. If you're not contented, you add more, and then you go ahead with what you have to do. So this was another test that was carried out, and you can see after using the alcohol-based hand rub, almost all the germs on the hands were eliminated. So we need to also understand the difference between hand washing and hand disinfection. The timing, when are you supposed to use soap and water, and when are you supposed to use the alcohol-based hand rub. So you can see in case of visible soiling, wash with soap and water. But in case of invisible contamination, that is when you can use the alcohol-based hand rub. Then the medium for hand washing is soap and water. And then for hand disinfection is the alcohol-based hand rub. Then the function of hand washing is to remove this visible dirt. It does the physical cleaning, while hand disinfection does chemical antisepsis. That's why we insist when your hands are visibly contaminated, that is when you're supposed to use soaps and water, because it's going to do the physical cleaning. While for hand disinfection is just chemical antisepsis on the microorganisms. Then hand washing, you're required to have at least a sink, maybe an improvised sink with a jerry can or something, or a tap and a sink, but you have to have something where water comes from. But with the use of alcohol-based hand rubs, you can have a pocket-sized container with you, which you can carry around with you in your gowns, and then you can perform hand hygiene. So this is just emphasizing. You can see all these people are touching parts that are above the neck. Many times we may touch our hair, especially for us women. Something will be itching under there, and we just simply do this. Even that, just that action, you need to perform hand hygiene, because it was tested. You can see right after hand disinfection, and then after touching the hair, you can see what happened to the palms. So that means even when we just touch our hair or any parts that are above the neck, we need to perform hand hygiene. So how do you improve hand hygiene compliance? You can see that worldwide compliance is less than 40%. So it's not only for us in the developing countries, but it's a global challenge. That's why this Clean Care, Safer Care campaign has been put in place to try and improve compliance to hand hygiene worldwide. So what are some of the causes of poor compliance? You can see poor access to hand washing facilities. Yes, WHO is recommending before patient contact, clean your hands. But if the sink is located in the duty rooms, let's say in the public facilities, the government hospitals we've been to, the sink which is there is in the duty rooms where nurses prepare their toilets, and the ward is this side. And WHO is saying in between patient contact, before you move on to the next patient, you need to clean your hands. But where is the sink located? The other side. So does it mean that every time I have to keep making that back and forth movement? Yeah, so that's why the compliance is still low. Then skin irritations associated with hand washing and hand disinfection. Some hospitals provide some items for performing hand hygiene, but there are some things which are not user-friendly. They may be maybe too acidic for your hands, or cause burns, or people get irritations after using those products. So if I tried it today and I get such effects, you don't expect me to continue using it. So those ones are also other reasons why compliance to hand hygiene is still low. The items or the products that are being provided to the health workers. Then inadequate number of hand washing facilities. For instance, paper towels, then the liquid soap itself. Some hospitals don't even have them. Then not enough time for hand hygiene. Now this is very common, especially in the government facilities. Most of them say, I have a long queue, I need to just keep working, but at the expense of your life as well. These days there are so many patients who have developed drug resistance, and they are very dangerous. They are actually the major cause of these hospital-acquired infections. So before you know it, you'll be the one who is going to get that marked drug-resistant strain. So all this, it requires knowledge. You need to just give this person this knowledge so that they are aware that they need to protect themselves, so that they stop complaining about this time issue. And then lack of consciousness, because we are not going to play in soil, so our hands will always appear to be clean. Yeah, so we will just continue working and working. Then use of gloves. Now this one here is very dangerous. Yes, the glove is very important. You need to have this physical protection, but how are you using it? In some of the hospitals we've been to, and not one, you find a nurse will put on that pair of gloves and run through the entire ward from patient to patient, and maybe remember to remove it at the end of it all. So maybe the first patient may be lucky because it was just fresh from the rapid. But what about the last patient? So you have collected everything and finished it on her or him. So they're saying glove use should not replace the need for you to clean your hands. Even when you're using the gloves, you still need to perform hand hygiene. So WHO is recommending for a change in the system, what it is calling a system change. It's looking at hand washing as an action of the past. But except you remember in the guidelines where your hands are visibly soiled, but it's recommending for the use of alcohol-based hand rub as the standard of care. Looking at the challenges, you cannot put a sink everywhere in between patient beds, but you can install a dispenser, or you can hook a dispenser in between patient beds, or provide every health worker with a pocket-sized container to enable them perform hand hygiene during patient care. So that's why it's saying we need to change the system. From the use of soap and water, we are not replacing the use of soap and water. But most of the times we realize that where there have been sinks, the hand hygiene compliance has been really low because of the challenges of maybe they are few and the distance